exam for this one is something like 8 to 10 marks. So it's not mandatory always 8 to 10 marks. Sometimes it will exceed more than 10 marks also, but always minimum weightage is in the GATE exam is 8 marks. So before going to course, let's split the entire course into, let's say, 5 topics. So 5 topics is, first is the chemical kinetics, or let's say what we call it as basics of chemical reactions. Basics of chemical reactions. So this is the first topic. So we'll try to split this entire CRE into, let's say, 5 topics. Then the next topic is the ideal reactors. And then third topic is series parallel reactions. And then fourth topic is non-ideal reactors. And then fifth topic is catalytic reactions. This is basically the splitting of the entire syllabus. So what we call these 3 topics of first part, you will study the CRE as 2 parts in your curriculum. What you call it as, let's say, CRE1. Try to write the running notes during the course. So maybe I'll try to save these boards, and then if you need, we'll send it out. So we'll give every board one number. Let's say this is the first board, so that when you are referring next time for the classes, see, it will be good for you. So we'll read this entire CRE as 2 subjects in your curriculum, maybe in the 3rd year, and then final year it will start. So what do you call this? Let's say the next 2 chapters is the CRE2. So CRE1 and basically CRE2. That is how you read the entire subjects. So basically, what is difference between CRE1 and CRE2 is, this is what you call it as, let's say, ideal. This is what you will call it as, let's say, real. So what is basic difference between CRE1 and CRE2 is, CRE1 is something that you will study it as ideal systems, theoretical systems. So what you will study is only on the paper, nothing in the reality. What is CRE2 is, how do you translate the knowledge into a plant, into a reality, is what is the basic difference between, let's say, CRE1 and CRE2. So if you try to understand what does you do in CRE1 is, you will try to design a reactor in CRE1. And then in CRE2, what do you do is, how do you translate this design knowledge into a plant? So what is that is basic difference. So everything you will talk about is the reality. How do I translate into plant? See, here everything you will study is what is the ideal thing. That is the basic difference. So CRE1 is important, GATE point of view. So weightage in the GATE exam is something like 6 marks. You will get in CRE1 itself. CRE2 is something like 2 to 4 marks is something which is CRE2. And then the CRE is important for, let's say, GATE BARC interviews. If you are attending, let's say, BARC BARC interviews. So in the BARC interviews also, this is one of the important parts. But if you are trying to understand, let's say, attending interviews like something like Reliance, or let's say IOCL, HPCL, all these production related jobs, then CRE may not be that relevant when we are talking about, let's say, operating of the plants. But when you are talking about the R&Ds, so R&D, like UOP R&D and then BARC R&D. So this is the topic which is important when you are doing, let's say, R&D studies. That is what is the main importance of, let's say, CRE. So this is what is the basics of, let's say, splitting of the entire topic, and then what is the weightage, and then rest of the things. So we'll move to next thing. So we have introduced, let's say, what is the topic. Say in between the boards, I may give, let's say, half a minute or 1 minute, so that you will write the notes. So once we have discussed, let's say, what is the topics, so we'll discuss, before going to the topics, we'll discuss one thing which is what is the objective of, give me 1 minute. So I think I'm not using the audio set right now, so my voice is little disturbing right now. But from tomorrow onwards, we'll try to arrange the audio so that my headset so that it will be clear. So, what is the objective of CRE? Is the first thing that we need to discuss. What is the basic objective of CRE? What we are uh, trying to study in CRE. That is, in every subject, this is important. That what is the objective of that subject? So, if you try to see what is the objective of the CRE is reactor design. Like if you try to see in the entire chemical engineering syllabus is divided in such a way that how do I design a plant? Let's take heat transfer. What is the objective of heat transfer? At the end of heat transfer, what do? You will design a heat exchanger, or you will design, let's say, the evaporators, or you will design, let's say, the double pipe, or let's say shell and tube heat exchangers. So that is the objective of the entire heat transfer. Let's take mass transfer. The objective of mass transfer is design of a distillation column. Let's take fluid mechanics. Fluid mechanics objective is so design of the entire pumps or design of the rotating equipment, something like pumps, compressors. That is objective. Like each subject in chemical engineering is divided in such a way that every subject will result into a design of equipment. So similarly, what is the objective of, let's say, CRE is the reactor design. What do you mean by reactor design? So what do you mean by reactor design is, let's say, calculate the volume of the reactor, calculate the volume, or let's say basically the dimensions of a reactor, dimensions of a reactor. So that is what is the, at the end of this entire CRE, what do you do is design of a reactor. So in the entire CRE, you will fulfill two objectives. One is how to select a best reactor. This is one objective. The second thing is how to design a reactor. These are the two things that are you will study in, let's say, entire series. How do I select a reactor? Meaning that, let's say, let's take a simple example. Let's say I want to produce urea from ammonia and CO2. So for that particular plant, there are like multiple reactors are available in the world. Suppose if you visit any of the refineries, you will see multiple variety of reactors. Some are, let's say, fixed bed reactors. Some are, let's say, fluidized bed reactors. Some are, let's say, slurry bubble reactors. So there are variety of reactors available in the design. So how do you select a best reactor? Suppose if somebody of you, let's say, visited a refinery, you might have seen in a fluidized, let's say, FCC, fluid bed cracking. So that is where you will see a fluidized bed reactor. So if you see a hydro treater, let's say FCC, you will see fluid bed reactor. Whereas if you see, let's say, hydro treater, if you see, it is a fixed bed reactor. So why you have used fluidized bed reactor for FCC? What do you do in FCC is, so you will take a long chain molecule and then break them into small molecules. Long chain molecules converting into small molecules. That is where you will use a fluidized bed. Maybe I'll take these examples couple of times during the course. Maybe if you have not understood now, don't worry, we'll take this. I'm trying to explain the overview of the course in one of the examples. So for fluidized bed reactors, or let's say for FCC, why you are using fluidized bed reactor? For hydrotreater, why you are using, let's say, fixed bed reactors? That is what is you will discuss in, let's say, first point. What is the best reactor for my chemistry? And once you select the reactor, how do I design a reactor? Is the objective. This is the objective of the entire, let's say, CRE course. At the end of this course, at the end, after getting over of the entire CRE course, if you sit quietly and then think about what do I learn from this course, is these two things. Maybe we'll revisit this board at the end of the course and we have to say like you have learned all these things. Let's take a simple example. So we'll take a simple example of the objective of the entire CRE. So let's take a simple chemistry of A gives B, which is, let's say, liquid phase reaction or gas phase reaction. So I'll try to build a small flow sheet. Let's take 100 moles per hour of A, which is going into the reactor, and then 100 moles per hour of A, which is coming as a recycle. Both are mixing here and going into this is my reactor. And then here, what is my target is 50% conversion. So 50% conversion. After this one, then what happens is here you have 200 moles per hour of A. Out of 200 moles, let's say 100 moles are converted. Then what is left out is, what do you get at the end of the reactor is 100 moles of A, 100 moles of B, basically per hour. You will take, let's say, simple flow sheet. Let's assume that you are cooling this one, and then you have a mass transfer column, something which you are, let's say, separating it out. Separating it could be based on distillation or it could be based on something, doesn't matter, depending upon the 100 moles of B per hour is coming out. Let's say 100 moles of A per hour is going back. So since there is a pressure loss, you have a compressor and sending back to the system. So if you see any plants, any of the plants, all the plants in the entire industry, this is the simple flow scheme of any plants. You take the feed, and then this is what is feed, this is what is, let's say, recycle. You take feed and you take recycle, and then going into the reactor. After the reactor, you will have a cooling and separating, and then designing the entire system. This is what is the entire simple scheme of a reactor. Now, what is my objective is, how do I design this one? Design of this reactor. Design of this reactor is my objective. How do I design the reactor? Let's take this heat exchanger. This heat exchanger is designed by a heat transfer objective. Separator is a mass transfer. Let's say this is what is done by heat transfer. This is what is done by mass transfer. This is what is done by fluid mechanics. This entire pipes are done by fluid mechanics. This is what is done by CR. So that is how any plant is, all the plants are, let's say, divided. Let's discuss, let's say, how do I design this particular reactor? Let's talk about, I have a rate of reaction which talks about, let's say, 10 moles of A per, let's say, second. What does this rate mean? If I hold these molecules in this reactor for a second, 10 molecules will be converted. That is the meaning. What is the meaning of rate? Per second, 10 molecules of A is converted. That means in this entire reactor, if I hold this feed in this reactor for a second, 10 molecules will be converted. What is the objective here? How many molecules you need to convert? 100 molecules you need to convert. Then how many seconds you have to keep this molecule? So what is my objective here? What is my objective here is, I need to convert, let's say, 100 molecules. Because you are entering 200 molecules, no? So overall 200 molecules are entering, and I targeted a conversion of 50%. So that means my objective will be 100 molecules of A should be converted to, let's say, B is my objective. Then how much residence time should I keep? So tau is called as, let's say, residence time. So tau is called as, let's say, residence times. Then how much time should I keep the molecules? Simple math. I need to keep the molecule for, let's say, 10 seconds. So this is what is meant by the design of the reactor. This is what is meant by the design of the reactor. So this is the important term that you will see in the entire CRE is, what is the residence time of a reactor. So that is what something that you will see in the entire CRE. Any reactor, suppose if you go and ask any reactor experts, he will ask this terminology of, let's say, residence time. So what is residence time? This is the simple concept of, let's say, residence time. Now next point. So I'm talking about volume of the reactor. Now I need to hold this molecule for 10 seconds. That means how much molecule should I have? So if I take this 200 molecules of A, if I convert this into, let's say, volumetric flow rate. So let's talk about, let's say, 10 meter cube, or let's say 100 meter cube per second is the volumetric flow rate. How do you convert moles per hour to volumetric flow rate? Divided with the density, will get, let's say, what is the volumetric flow rate. So we have the density and multiply. Then what is the volume of the reactor? So what is the volume of the reactor is, I need to hold these molecules for 10 seconds, and volumetric flow rate is 100 meter cube per second. So this 10 into 100, which is 1000 meter cube, is the volume of the reactor. This is what is the important points. The objective of entire CRE is what is the volume of the reactor. So if you try to see and then go back to, let's say, our test board and then see here, what is the objective here? How to design a reactor, calculate the volume of the reactor in the second board. That is what I have written it as what is the objective of CRE. Now if you see the current board, so here if you see, you got the volume of the reactor. This is the main, let's say, crux of the story. So objective is 1000 meter cube. So this is the design of the reactor. How do I design? Let's say you will be having a doubt. Let's say, what do I do in the entire CRE? This is what you will do in the entire CRE. You find out the rates. This is your, let's say, first step of the story, which is, this is, let's say, first step of the story. Second step is calculate the residence time. Third step is estimate the volume of the reactor. Suppose now this is one point. Suppose if somebody comes up with, let's say, this is, let's say, one type of reactor. Suppose if somebody comes up and, let's say, says that I have a reactor which gives rate of reaction, let's say, 50 moles of A per second, then can you estimate what is the volume here? Take 2 seconds and then try to estimate. Very good. I am getting responses. So first, before going to the volume, let's estimate, let's say, what is the tau which is required. I'm giving tau prime. So see, simple question, 10 molecules per second it is converting. So I need to convert 100 molecules. I need a residence time of 10 seconds. Now I have a better reactor. So why this reactor rate is higher? Because this is reactor is better. So that is why I'm getting a residence time of, let's say, 2 seconds. Then what is my new volume is 200 meter cube. Suppose if you given a chance, suppose if you go to, let's say, some experts and then see you have, this is one reactor choice and this is one reactor choice. So then which one you will select? Obviously we'll go for 200 meter reactor because this will give the lowest volume of the reactor. So that is what is meant by the reactor. See, understand this example that I am trying to tell is extremely important for the entire CRE course, because these simple examples determines the entire story that I am going to demonstrate in the entire CRE. So the thing that I am going to tell in the entire CRE is this simple example. So I have tried to convert the entire CRE into a simple example of this one. So if you have not take, let's say, 1 minute time and understand this entire, maybe I'll explain one more time, let's say, this example, but take time and then understand this example. So even if some of you, let's say, did not catch up this example, don't worry, we will go through this example multiple times during the entire course. We take, let's say, half minute and then understand this particular example. So maybe I'll try to take this example one more time. So I'm taking a simple example of somebody is asking how did I get, let's say, 2 seconds. 2 seconds is simple. 100 meter cube, or let's say 100 molecules I want to convert. You are converting 50 molecules per second, then how many seconds is required? 100 divided by 50. So that is what is 2 seconds. So I'm trying to take, let's say, one more time. So I have a feed of, let's say, 100 moles per hour. Okay. So 100 moles per hour is my feed, and then 100 moles per hour is going on. So combinedly it is 200 moles. 200 moles is going into the reactor, and then my conversion is 50%. What is meant by 50% conversion? Out of 200 moles, I need to convert, let's say, 100 moles. I am trying to give simple numbers so that so that you will get easy. So that is why you will get the numbers on hand. So 200 moles per hour. Out of that 200 moles, you will have, let's say, 100 moles per hour, and then 100 moles of B is the outlet, and then 100 moles of A is unconverted, which is you are recycling back into the reactor. Now your objective is design of, let's say, this particular reactor is the objective. Design of this particular reactor is objective. So let's take first case. I have a reactor which gives, let's say, 10 moles per hour of A per second. What does this mean? If I hold the molecule for a second time, so you will get, let's say, 10 moles of A will be converted. So what is my objective? I need to convert 100 moles. Where did you get this 100 moles? 200 moles is entry, and then 50% is converted. So that means 100 moles has to be converted. Then what is the residence time? Is, let's say, simple. So basically 10 seconds. That means you are holding the molecules for a second time, then you are getting, let's say, 10 moles of A converted. 100 moles of A you need to convert. So how much time is required is simple, let's say 10 seconds. So now for 10 seconds, how much volume of the reactor is required is the simple next question. So for that one, we'll do, let's say, volumetric flow rates. Let's take the volumetric flow rate, which is 100 meter cube per second. How do you get this volumetric flow rate 100 meter cube per second is, you have the volumetric flow, like molar flow rate, multiply with the molar density, then you will get, let's say, 100 meter cube per second is the volumetric flow rate. So for 100 meter cube per second of the volumetric flow rate, and then to hold for, let's say, 10 seconds residence time, what is the volume which is required, which is 10 into 100. 10 seconds you need to hold for, let's say, 100 meter cube of the flow rate, which is, let's say, simple 1000 meter cube is the volume. Next, you have another reactor. This is somebody has come up with a better idea, or let's say better design of the reactor, which talks about, let's say, 50 moles of A is converted into the reactor. That means this reactor is better. So you have done some design modification. So that means it is 50 moles of A will be converted. Then what is the volume of the reactor is 200 meter cube. So which is the another reactor. So if you go to the previous ones, how to select a reactor is one choice. So if you see the example, you will select here. I will select, let's say, reactor 2. How to design a reactor means what is the volume of the reactor. Once you select, let's say, here, what will you do here in this one? You selected the second reactor because second reactor is giving the low wall compared to the first reactor. That is what is the object of this entire CR. So take some time and understand this example so that we will start the new topic. Now let's stop, let's say, what do you do in the entire, let's say, CRE course? If you come back, what do you do in chemical kinetics? Go back to, let's say, what do you do? In chemical kinetics is how to estimate minus RA. What is rate of reaction is how to estimate minus R. You don't talk about anything about, let's say, reactors here. What do you talk simply about is how do I calculate rate of reaction? What do you study in ideal reactors is you will study, let's say, CSTR and PFR, because these are the basic ideal reactors for the entire reactors. You will talk about, so if you understand the flow, first you understand about the reaction, then you go for, let's say, reactors. Third thing, what you will do series parallel reactions is, what do you do in the second chapter is you will talk about a simple reactor of, let's say, A gives B. That is what you will do. So you will not talk anything about, let's say, complex reactions. In series parallel reactions, what do you do is you will take little complex reactions, A gives B gives C, A gives B and A gives C, complex reactions, and discuss about, let's say, reactor design. So you are slowly extending the scenarios. So here also we will talk about reactor design. In the second chapter, we will talk about for a simple reactions. Third chapter, we will extend it for, let's say, complex reactions, reactor design. Non-ideal reactors, this is important. So once you design, how to translate to plant is what you will study in, let's say, non-ideal reactors. How do you translate into plant is what is the objective. Catalytic reactions. Suppose if you have catalyst in the system, all the reactions nowadays taking place in the plant are, let's say, catalytic reactions. Let's take an example of, let's say, ammonia reaction, or let's say steam reforming of methane, CH4 plus H2O gives CO plus H2. So what is the catalyst here is, let's say, nickel catalyst. So like this, if you have a catalyst in the system, then how do you design a reactor is what is the objective. So first thing is, so if you see from chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4 and chapter 5, you are slowly increasing the complexity. First thing is, if you take a simple reaction of A gives B, how do I estimate the rate of reaction, or what do you call it as the kinetics? Second thing is, how do you design a reactor for a simple uh, reactions, A gives B. And then third thing is series parallel reactions. So that is if you have a series parallel reactions, then how do you design a reactors? Third thing is, how do you translate this knowledge into a plant scale? Catalytic reactions. For catalyst, if you have a catalyst in the system, how do you translate? So that is what we will do in the entire system. So we'll try, I'll write this till now, whatever I have discussed is what is the syllabus and then simple overview of the entire CRE. So here we will start with, let's say, chapter 1, which is what you call it as basics of chemical reactions, or let's say simply what you call it as kinetics. This is the first topic that we are going to discuss. Whatever I have discussed till now is only the objective of the entire CRE, or let's say overview of the CRE. Let's take a simple reaction. A gives B, and then for this one, how do you estimate the rate of reaction? So before going to, let's say, a rate of reaction, so let's think, or let's say thought about what is a reaction basically. Suppose if I have, let's say, A gives B, let's take an example of, let's say, ammonia. Let's take an example of ammonia. Suppose N2 plus 3H2 gives, let's say, 2NH3. So if I write this reaction simply, N2 plus 3H2 gives 2NH3, it does mean that nitrogen and hydrogen, I am mixing it, I am forming ammonia. Is it so simple? No. Because if I take, let's say, simple nitrogen gas, and if I take hydrogen gas in, if I mix it both, do I get, let's say, ammonia? No. So what you should do is, you should take it to a pressure of, let's say, something like 100 bar, and you should take it to a 450 degrees. That is where actually we'll find a drop of ammonia. What does that mean is, if you take a simple energy diagram of A gives B, the energy levels of A are here. That means at this energy levels, A molecules doesn't convert. If I keep on increasing temperature and pressure, then what happens is the energy of A is increasing. You have a level here. This is very important level. This is what you call it as activation level. This is where A will be converted to B. And then if you compare with the standard energy of A, this is what is B level. This is what is called as energy diagram. So if you take a molecule which is at this energy, A doesn't convert into B. If you activate it to this level, then A will be converted to B, then B will be coming back to here. Suppose if you try to see here, you are taking a low energy molecule and you are trying to convert a high energy molecules. Does it happen naturally? No. If it happens naturally, then you are creating the energy. Then what you should do is you should pump energy into the system. So this type of reactions, you should send energy to the system. This is what you will call it as endothermic reactions. A simple example of, let's say, endothermic reactions is whatever the reaction that I have written. CH4 plus H2O gives CO plus 3H2. This is a good example of an endothermic reaction. Endothermic reactions basically means taking low energy molecules and producing high energy molecules is the basic example of endothermic reaction. On the other way around, you have concept of, let's say, exothermic reactions. What does this mean is, you are taking high energy molecules and then converting into a low energy molecules. So that means this is what is energy of A, this is what is energy of B. So I'm taking, let's say, 10 joules, I'm converting into, let's say, 2 joules. What should happen to this, let's say, 8 joules? So this is 10 joules per mole of A, this is 2 joules per mole of A. Then what happens to that 8 joules is, that 8 joules per mole of A will be released as a energy which is coming out of the reaction. That means if 1 mole of A converts, if 1 mole of A has an energy of 10 joules, 1 mole of B has an energy of 2 joules. So if 1 mole of A will be converted to 1 mole of B, then you will get, let's say, 8 joules per mole of A will be released as heat out of the reaction. This is called as exothermic reactions. So what is the example of, let's say, exothermic reactions is CH4 plus 2O2 gives CO2 plus 2H2O, combustion. This is combustion is a good example of, let's say, exothermic reaction. So this is something about, let's say, what is a reaction. So we'll go to next board. Now that we have understood, let's say, what is meant by a reaction, so we'll try to see, define, let's say, simple take A gives B, a reaction. What we will define it as, let's say, minus RA. Minus RA means moles of A converted per, let's say, time, some time, and then some volume, or let's say something like some volume, is what you will define it as rate of A. Meaning that, let's say, how many, if I moles of A per meter cube per minute. So what does this mean is, if I take a simple 1 meter cube of volume, per minute, how many moles of A is converted is what is the simple rate of reaction. How do you define rate of reaction is minus 1 by V into dNA by dt. So somebody may get doubt, what does this minus for? Why I am writing this minus? Because this dNA by dt is what is negative. So if somebody asks, let's say, what is my rate of reaction, you can't say, let's say, dNA by dt is negative. Let's take dN by dt as, let's say, minus 5. You can't say minus 5 molecules are converting into rate. No? So to make it as positive, we have put, let's say, one more negative sign. So that rate of reaction means it is number of molecules which are converted into product. That means it should be a positive number, not a negative number. So this is what is the basic rate of reaction. So how do, if somebody asks what is rate of reaction, you have to write it as. Suppose if you can write rate with respect to B also, no? So if I write rate with respect to B, you don't need to put, let's say, negative sign, because I am putting here negative sign because it is a reactant and it is decreasing with respect to time. So for B, I don't need to write negative sign because it is 1 by V into dNB by dt. I can write rate with respect to products also. Clear? So now let's think about minus Ra, which is minus 1 by V into dNA by dt. What are the factors which affects my rate of, let's say, reaction? What are the things, or what are the things that affects my rate of reaction is, it is a function of basically temperature, because temperature is something which defines energy of the molecule. Suppose if I have more temperature, more number of molecules will cross the barrier, and then more number of molecules will convert into products. That is one thing. What is next thing is the number of molecules. Number of molecules existed in the reactor. Suppose if you take a scenario of, let's say, I have enough temperature, but I don't have enough number of molecules. Then what happens? If I have, let's say, enough temperature and I have only 2 molecules, the 2 molecules will convert into product. So concentration. Concentration is the one which defines how many number of molecules per meter cube. How do you define concentration? Moles per meter cube. That means if I take meter cube of volume, let's take oxygen. What is the concentration of oxygen in the air? That means it talks about, let's say, how many moles of oxygen present if I take 1 meter cube of air. So basically concentration is defined to tell the intensity of, let's say, the number of molecules. If I have 2 components A and B, if concentration of A is higher, meaning that the gas is having more number of A molecules per meter cube, let's say, than B. So number of molecules and temperature, these are the 2 things. So if you define this into, let's say, function of concentration, or let's say function of temperature, function of concentration, then function of temperature will be called it as K, which you call it as rate constant. Function of temperature concentration is as, let's say, Kca power n. So basically it boils down to a simple concept of minus Ra equal to Kca power n. So what do you call it as? K is, let's say, rate constant. What do you call it as? N is, let's say, order of reaction. So we need to find out, let's say, K and N. So the entire objective of chapter 1. So the entire chapter 1 objective is to find out K and N is the objective of, let's say, CRE1. Now let's take K. How do you find out K? It's simple. You have multiple theories are available. K will be defined as K equal to K naught into e power minus e by RT. Is one concept which is called as Arrhenius law. K is equal to K naught into e power minus e by RT into t power half, which is called as collision theory. But K can be estimated from all these theories. K naught into e power minus e by RT into t, which is called as transition state theory. So basically you have 3 terminologies, or let's say 3 equations. K equal to K naught into e power minus e by RT, K equal to K naught into e power minus e by RT, and then t power half. This is e by RT. This is, there is no temperature term. Here there is temperature term which is power half. Here there is a temperature term power 1 here. So this is, you can remember like this, ACT act, and then temperature power 0, temperature power half, and then temperature power 1. So you got two new terms here. What are the two new terms? K naught and E. What is you call it as K naught is pre-exponential factor. Pre-exponential factor, which is constant for the reaction. What is E? This is important term, which you will call it as activation energy. What is activation energy? If you go back to, let's say, previous board and see, this is what you define it as activation energy. From the STP level, if you take from STP level to activation level, what is the energy which is required for a molecule or for mole is called as activation energy. Here, what is activation energy? This is what is activation energy, E. So from STP to this level, how much energy is required is what you call it as, let's say, activation energy. So this is what is about K. So just take half minute and then write. So K naught is pre-exponential factor, activation energy. So take. So now that we have found out K, then what is our next step is, let's take a simple problem and then we'll try to explain, let's say, this K. So I'll try to problem. So I'll write the problem here. The rate of reaction for A gives B is 1 at the rate of at the rate of 3 330 Kelvin and 2 at the rate of 347 Kelvin. Estimate the activation energy using Arrhenius law. This is the problem. So just take 1 minute time and then solve this problem. Maybe if somebody got doubt, the rate of reaction for A gives B is 1 at 337 Kelvin and 2 at 347 Kelvin. Estimate the activation energy. You need to estimate, let's say, E using Arrhenius law. Take 1 minute time. Try to solve one. The answer is something like 39 kilojoules per mole. So let's try to, so what do you do is K equal to K naught into E power minus E by RT. Now you have given data, basically you are changing the temperature, so your rate is changing, basically your rate constant is changing. So if you take K1 equal to K naught into E power minus E by RT1, and this T1, see your activation energy, this doesn't depend upon temperature. This is also doesn't depend upon temperature. These are not functions of temperatures. So your activation energy and 3 exponential factors. So what is K2 is K naught into E power minus E by R T2. So if you take this is let's say 1, this is let's say 2. If you do let's say 1 by 2, so what do you get is simple thing. K1 by K2 equal to, if you take R, E by R into 1 by T2 minus 1 by T1. Simple thing. Here if you get K1 by K2, T2 and T1. Here if you get K2 by K1, T1 and T2. That is how you should remember. You have all the terms here. So what is K1 here? K1 is 1. K2 is 2. What is T1 is 330. 347. What is T1 is 330. What is R? 8.314 joule per mole Kelvin. So if you solve this problem, so basically units of E is something like joule per mole. So we'll get something like 38.8 kilojoules per mole is the answer. Simple problem. Yes, ln should be there. Sorry, ln K1 by K2. Here if you write K1 by K2 and then talk log on both sides. So try to write all the points which we are discussing in the notes. At the end of the day, your notes is very important because, so I may not write all the things on the board. So while explaining whatever captured here, try to write as much as possible in the notes. Because after a month's time, if you open your notes, you should feel like you are attending the class. Same one. Now we have understood, let's say, what is K. Next is how order of the reaction is calculated. How do you calculate, let's say, order of the reaction? This is important. Order of the reaction. Now, before going into, let's say, order of the reaction, you have divided the reactions into, let's say, two types. Basically, elementary reactions and non-elementary reaction. This is how the entire reactions are divided: elementary reactions and non-elementary reactions. So before going to the order, you should have knowledge about this reaction, which is elementary or non-elementary. So first, let's talk about non-elementary reactions. What is meant by non-elementary reactions is, I'm talking about, let's say, A plus B gives C. So if I write the reaction, what do you understand from the here? A molecule and B molecule combines and then forms C molecules. But what is in reality is A plus B doesn't give C. A plus B gives an intermediate which is AB star. This AB star then gives, let's say, C molecule. This is what is the story. But you don't see this intermediate because this intermediate is so unstable that it will be eventually converted to your product C and then will be settled it as C. That is why if you do a reaction, you don't find this intermediate molecule, let's say AB star. You don't find, let's say, this AB star. So I am writing the reaction as A plus B gives C, but in reality, it is This is my step 1, this is my step 2. But this is an elementary reaction, this is an elementary reaction, but combinedly it is a non-elementary reaction. Combinedly it is a non-elementary reaction. So non-elementary reactions means reactions doesn't occur as you see or as you look at the reaction. I'm looking at the reaction as A plus B gives C, but what is reality is A plus B gives AB star and AB star is something which gives C, is what is non-elementary reaction. Then on the contrary, what is elementary reactions is A plus B gives C. So in reality is also A molecules, B molecules combines and then forms C molecules, which is what is reality. Reality is same as reaction. So there is no surprise here, no, because I am writing it as A plus B gives C and A plus B is giving. So I'm surprised, there is no surprise here because A plus B combines and A plus B is giving the molecule which is C. So reality is same as you write the reaction. So there is no conflict here. But what is non-elementary reaction is you are writing the reaction as A plus B gives C, but in reality A plus B gives AB star. AB star is something which gives C. So, but these two steps are elementary. This is elementary, but combinedly it is a non-elementary reaction. Clear? So that is what is non-elementary reaction. That is what is elementary reaction. So all the reactions in life are non-elementary reactions. Most of the reactions, all reactions. I can't say all the reactions. Let's say most of the reactions are non-elementary reactions. If the reaction is elementary, life is simple because how do you write my rate is minus R equal to simple KCA and CB because the orders are proportional to your stoichiometric coefficients. This is simple. Suppose if you have a reaction, let's say A plus 2B gives C and it is elementary reaction, then what is my minus RA is KCA CB square. Simple. Why I can write simple? Because I don't have any intermediate. But here, how do I rate my rate of reaction? Here it is a question, no? Is this one slow step or is this one slow step? If this is slow step, then my rate of reaction is KCACB. If this is slow step, then my rate of reaction is KCAB star. You don't know which one is slow step. And basic thing is, you don't know whether this mechanism is correct or not. Somebody will come up with another mechanism, let's say, saying that, let's say, A plus B gives C, or let's say AB star. AB star gives AB double star. This AB double star is something like which gives C. This somebody comes up with this mechanism. This is one mechanism. This is mechanism one. This is mechanism mechanism two. So you don't know which one is right. No, that is why you can't estimate from the reaction. You cannot estimate from reaction. So it is not possible to estimate from the reaction. You have to do an experiment, then only you can do the rate of reaction. This is what is before finding out the order of the reaction. We'll go to next board, just take the notes. Now, how to estimate order for a non-elementary reaction. So it is 1 hour class. So I think we'll take 5 minutes break and then come back. Exactly 7:01 time. We'll come back at 7:05. So we'll take 4 minutes break so that we will take some water and all, or we will catch up previous ones. We'll come back after let's exactly 4 minutes. 7:05. So let us come back again. So we'll start. So hope everybody is back. So how to estimate N for a non-elementary reaction? The answer is not simple. So we have to do an experiment. So from the experiment only you will get the rate of reaction. So how do you do an experiment is, you will take a here. Let's say if you are taking A gives B, you will load with A and then with respect to time. So you will plot the how the concentration of A is dropping. So concentration of A with respect to time. So your initial concentration is Ca now, and with respect to time, you will get multiple points. These are my, let's say after half a minute, this is how, let's say, my concentration drops. This is what is your experimental data. So this is what you will do as an experiment. So once you do an experiment, from the experiment, you will find out what is the order of a reaction. So how do you use this experimental data and find out the order of a reaction? So there are multiple analyses here. First one is integral analysis. There are multiple techniques here. Integral analysis. What is an integral analysis is finding out N from experimental data. So what do you do in integral analysis is a trial and error method. Trial and error. So you will do trials and see whether that rate of reaction is correct or not. So let's start, assume that the order of reaction is 1. Let's assume that order of reaction is 1. Then what is your rate of reaction? Minus Ra equal to minus 1 by V into dNA by dt, which is equal to K into Ca power N, which I assumed it as 1. This is an assumption. What is N equal to 1 is an assumption. Basically, it is a trial and error method. So that means you will assume N equal to 1 and then you will see whether N equal to 1 is correct or not with the experimental data. Now, this is an important step. Please be attentive here. What is this V? What is this V is volume of reactor or reaction mixture. Volume of reactor or reaction mixture. Just answer in your chats. Reactor or reaction mixture. It is reaction mixture, not reactor. Extremely important. It is not reactor. It doesn't matter how much reactor volume I have. This is what is V. Your volume of the reactor can be V prime. Now the question is, next question you should ask is it constant? Is it constant? Please be attentive here because this is extremely important. Entire CRE depends upon this simple question. Does my reaction mixture is constant or variable? Is it constant? So answer is yes for liquid phase reactions. Liquid phase reactions. For gas phase reactions, it can change. It may be constant or it may be variable. This is very important. It is S for liquid phase reactions, and for gas phase reactions, it can change. It may be constant or variable. We don't know why. Why is it so? Why for liquid phase reactions it is constant and for gas phase reactions it is variable? What is why it happens? Somebody answered it as low compressibility. Density changes, partially correct. Density constant is exactly. So for gases, what is simple thing is, for gases, your volume is proportional to moles. Because why it is? Because your PV is equal to nRT. Your volume depends upon moles. So in gas phase reaction, or basically in the reaction, the moles, here moles are constant. Here moles are constant. Maybe I'll take it to another board and then explain. So here for the liquid phase reactions, it is constant. For gas phase reactions, it can change. So suppose if you take gas phase reactions, if you take gas phase reactions, if you take A gives B, volume doesn't change. Because moles are constant. Suppose if you take reaction A gives 4B, your volume increases. If you take 4A gives B, your volume decreases. Why? Your moles are increasing. Here why? Your moles are decreasing. So we are talking about constant pressure reactions. Constant pressure reactions. That is why in gas phase reactions, basically your volume of mixture changes in gas phase reactions, but volume is constant for liquid phase reactions. This is extremely important in the entire CRE because this divides the entire CRE into two parts: gas phase chemistries, liquid phase chemistries. Liquid phase chemistries, the volume is constant. Gas phase chemistries, the volume. But in gas phase, all the time volume doesn't change. If I have a gas phase reaction of A gives B, here I don't see this is as good as liquid phase reaction. This is as good as liquid phase reaction. This is important. Please understand. If you have any doubts, maybe we can clarify in the doubts clarification. But this is very important. Now we'll continue from the previous here. So this is, we started with integral analysis. We took minus R equal to minus 1 by V into dNA by dt, KCA. Is the volume is constant? Is it constant or no? That is where we have started the discussion. So we'll start. So that is what we stopped here. So I'll just go to another whiteboard and then just see here. Continuation from there. So minus RA equal to minus 1 by V into dNA by dt. So which is equal to K into Ca. So that is where we started here. So let's assume that V is constant here. V is constant here. So that means I'm talking about a liquid phase reactions. I'm talking about a liquid phase reactions. So then what happens? This V can go inside the integral. This V can go inside the integral. So minus 1 by V into dNA by dt, which is equal to K into Ca. So if V can go inside the integral, so what happens is minus D into Na by V is moles minus dCA by dt, which is K into Ca. Suppose if somebody asks what is rate of reaction, you should not answer this as minus dCA by dt. The exactly minus order of the reaction is minus 1 by V into dNA by dt. Minus dCA by dt, this is applicable only for, let's say, liquid phase reaction. This is applicable only for liquid phase reactions. Now you take here minus dCA by Ca on one side, K into dt on other side. You integrate, let's say, from Ca naught to Ca, and then you integrate it from 0 to t. Then if you start here and then minus ln Ca with the limits of Ca naught to Ca, which is equal to K into T. So important thing here, K is constant. That means you are taking K out of the integral. So assuming that it is constants, meaning that you are doing reactions under isothermal mode. Suppose while doing your experiment, so in here you started here, you are doing experiment here. In this experiment, your T should be constant. Suppose if your T is varying, then your model is different and your experiment is different here. Clear? So what you will get here is Ca equal to Ca naught into e power minus k into T. So this is what is your model. Now you go back to your experimental data and verify it here. So I have this experimental data. Let's say this is my experiment which I have done. I plotted, let's say, my model here, n equal to 1 says like this. So what does this mean? Ca versus time. N equal to 1, that you have taken assumption, n equal to 1 is not correct. Then what you should do here? Try n equal to 2. So that is how you should go. Try n equal to 1, check with the model. If your experiments is matching, then fine, otherwise try n equal to 2. So try to, this is what is model for n equal to 1. Try to derive the model for n equal to 2. So try for n equal to 2. So n equal to 2. So how do you try it here is, you always start with minus 1 by V into dNA by dt. Don't start with minus dCA by dt because it is incorrect. Now, since you are talking about a liquid phase reaction, minus dCA by dt is equal to K into T. Sorry, this is wrong. k into CA square, k into CA square. So minus VCA by CA square, which is equal to k into dt, integrated from CA naught to CA, integrated from 0 to t. So you have to be extremely good at integrals, because in the entire CRE depends upon the integrals. What is the integral of 1 by x square minus 1 by x? So 1 by CA naught to CA, which is equal to k into t. Always taking k out of the integral means what you are doing is k is constant. That means your experiment is k into t. This is the model for, let's say, n equal to 2. So now you go back here and then let's say plot here n equal to 2 here. Let's say you got n equal to 2 something. Then what do you do? Should you try for 3? Because n equal to 2 is also not matching, but it gives a clue. Order is in between 1 and 2. Order can be fraction. Order can be anything. So you try for, let's say, next what you do is you try, let's say try 1.1, 1.2, 1.3 like this. So basically this is a trial and error method. Trial until you will get, let's say, exactly same. So some maybe, so you will get exactly the same, maybe exactly the same, something like this, n equal to 1.4 or 1.5, something like that. So I'm just guessing a number, may not be correct. That is how you should do the integral analysis. So basically what you are doing in integral analysis is, you are taking some order n equal to 1, you are deriving a model, you are checking against the experiments. So whether it is matching or not. Taking n equal to 2 and checking. So like this, you have to try many steps. So we'll solve one problem. So write this problem. Estimate the ratio of times required for 90% for 45% conversion to 90% conversion for a second order liquid phase reaction of the type A gives B. So basically, what is the ratio of times required for 45% conversion to 90% conversion for a second order liquid phase reaction of the type A gives B? Just take 1 minute time and solve. So before solving this problem, let's take one simple concept, which is, I think many of you know what is meant by conversion, but if somebody of you attending from the second year, then I'm trying to explain this problem. If you are second year, then then CRE is not yet completed. So there is a concept called as conversion. So what is conversion is, how do you define conversion is? Number of moles of A converted divided by number of moles of A at the rate of time t equal to 0. So how do you define conversion is how many number of moles of A converted and how many number of moles of A presented. Suppose what is Na naught at time t equal to 0, what is Na at time t equal to t. Then what is your conversion is Xa equal to Na naught minus Na. This is at time t equal to 0, if at let's say 100 molecules, at time t equal to t, let's say number of molecules are Na. Then how many number of molecules of A converted is Na naught minus Na divided by how many number of molecules at Na naught is Na naught. So if you try to rearrange terms, what you will get is Na equal to Na naught into 1 minus Xa. This is what is the conversion. Now, this is important. For liquid phase reactions, what is important is volume is constant. Then what happens here? Na equal to Na naught into 1 minus Xa. So divided by V naught. Let's assume that in both the cases I divided with V naught. So your V naught and V both are equal because at time t equal to G, your volume is V, which is equal to V naught because it is a liquid phase reaction. Then what happens? Your Na naught by V can become Ca, which is equal to Ca naught into 1 minus Xa. So Ca equal to Ca naught into 1 minus Xa is applicable only for liquid phase reactions. For gas phase reactions, this is not applicable because your volumes are not constant. So for liquid phase reactions, your conversion can be simple. Ca equal to Ca naught into 1 minus Xa. Now let's write this board. Now let's go back to your problem here, which is, now what, this is a second order reaction. So then what is my model? 1 by Ca minus 1 by Ca naught, which is equal to K into T. What is Ca? Because it is already given here, liquid phase reaction. This is important. In your gate question, you have to extremely careful because if it is liquid gas phase reaction, the answers are different. In the options, you will have both gas phase and liquid phase reactions. What is Ca here? So I will take Ca as 1 by Ca naught into 1 minus Xa minus 1 by Ca naught equal to K into T. So if I modify this one, Xa equal to 1 minus Xa equal to K into T into Ca1 naught. This is what is Xa into 1 minus Xa by K into T into Ca. Now what is K into T45 into Ca naught, which is equal to 0.45 divided by 1 minus 0.45. K into T90 into Ca naught, which is equal to 0.9 by 1 minus 0.9. So what is T45 divided by T90, which is what is 1 by 11. So what is an interesting observation here? Let's analyze the problem here. What is an interesting observation here is T45 by let's say T90 is let's say 1 by 11. What does this mean is, if I start with 100 molecules and then 100 molecules here, so what is 45% conversion here? 45% conversion means you have 55 molecules of A present. Here 45 molecules, 55 molecules here. This thing happens in let's say T time. Let's say T time. The time taken from 100 to 55 becoming is T time. Or let's say something like how much time it takes is T minutes. Now from here to let's say 10 molecules of A. So this is what is 90% conversion. So combinedly it is 11 minutes, 11 T. But how much time it is taking is 10 T minutes. So this first 45 molecules, interestingly, this 45 molecules, interestingly, has converted in T time. 45 A molecules has converted in T time. The next 45 A molecules is taken 10 times T time. So that overall it is 11 T. So 10 times. Why this is slow? Why slow here? Any reason? Initially, the molecules are converting very fast. Later on, the molecules are converting very slowly. What is the reason? Concentration less. So if concentration less, then what happens? Rate decreases. Rate decreases. Correct. Correct. So what happens here is why? Why this slowness? Why this reason for slow is, what is your rate of reaction? Minus RA equal to K into CA square. So what happens during the reaction? During the reaction, what happens to your concentration is initially CA naught and concentration decreases slowly with respect to time. Then what happens to your rate? Rate is also decreasing with respect to time. With respect to time, your rate also decreases. The reason why here is, the answer is, why slow? Because the rate decreases during the reaction. The rate decreases during the reaction. Slowly the rate decreases because the concentration is decreasing. No? Why concentration is decreasing? Because the number of molecules of A is converted. So as you go on during the reaction, the rate decreases. As you go on during the reaction, the rate always decreases. That is why it took 10 times T for the next 45 A molecules. Because in this area, the rate is higher. In this area, the rate is high. In this area, the rate is low. Now, next question is, suppose like this is what is minus RA with respect to time decreases. Minus RA decreases with respect to time. Now, if you see for n equal to 2, how much time is required for 100% conversion? So, if you T 1 by Ca minus 1 by Ca naught is equal to K into T. XA by 1 minus XA equal to K into T into Ca naught. So, if I target, let's say 100% conversion, what is my time required? Infinity. The reason because the rate is becoming extremely slow. The last molecule, the rate is almost negligible. That means for the last molecules to convert, it takes infinity time for the conversion. That is why So you will not target 100% conversion. You will not target, let's say, 100% conversion. You will target, let's say, 90% or 50. The reason you will ask, when I started the CRE class, I have asked, let's say, 50% conversion. The reason because I'm not targeting 100% conversion, because if I target 100% conversion, the time required is infinity time. What is the volume of the reactor required for the infinity time is infinity volume of the reactor. That is what. So the target for low conversions. Now, so let's do the integral analysis. Integral analysis for n equal to 0. Try to do integral analysis for n equal to 0 and liquid phase reaction. And tell me what is the model, because we have done it for n equal to 1, n equal to 2, n equal to 0. N equal to 1 is Ca equal to Ca naught into 1 minus e power minus kT. N equal to 2 is 1 by Ca minus 1 by Ca naught equal to k into T. N equal to 0. So I'm getting responses. So Ca naught minus Ca equal to kT, correct? So how do you do? So let's take minus dCA by dt. Whenever you talk about minus A dCA by dt, you always keep in your mind, because you are talking about a liquid phase reaction. Minus dCA by dt equal to k into Ca power 0. So what happens? Minus dCA equal to k into dt. So Ca naught minus Ca 0 to t. Then what happens here? Ca naught minus Ca equal to k into t. If you target conversion, Ca naught into Xa equal to k into t. So this is, if you replace this with, let's say, Ca naught into 1 minus Xa, then what is the answer? Here is Ca naught into Xa equal to k into t. Now, for 100, suppose if I target 100% conversion, then what is my time? Ca naught by k. Why I am not getting infinity here? Why not infinity here? I am getting infinity for the second order, no? But you are getting not infinity here. Why? What could be the reason? Because the rate is independent of concentration, because it is zero order, no? If I plot rate with respect to time, it is constant. It doesn't depend upon concentration. My concentration with respect to time. If you plot concentration, if you plot this one, the concentration is Ca naught here. And if you see, this is a straight line equation. It is a straight line. Your concentration becomes 0 when the time becomes Ca naught by k. Your concentration is becoming 0 means here you are targeting 100% conversion. So that is what is the models for, let's say, first order, second order, and then third order. Like that is what is integral analysis. Then what we do is half-life method. This is also to find order for, let's say, non-elementary reaction. This is also same. So in a half-life method, your experiment is slightly different. You will not do experiment. It's very cumbersome experiment. What you do is, you will note down, let's say, you will note down Ca norm at time t equal to 0. What is half-life is when time, or let's say when the concentration becomes half, when the concentration is equal to Ca naught by 2, then whatever it is, let's say the time, which is what you call it as, let's say, half-life. This is what you call it as half-life. This is what is the experiment you will do. So what you do here is, you start the experiment with the concentration of, let's say, 100. When concentration 100 has become 50, then you just note down the time. That is what is called as half-life. Now, how do you use this data, let's say, to find out order of a reaction is? Now, here there is no trial and error method. I am talking about minus dCA by dt equal to K into Ca power n. So, I am talking about this half-life analysis for liquid phase reactions. That is why I have written, always be careful. Minus dC by dt, whenever you write, you have to take it as, let's say, liquid phase reaction. Now, minus dCA by minus dCA by Ca power n, which is equal to K into dt. So I'll integrate it as, let's say, Ca naught to Ca naught by 2. Then what is time? 0 to t half. Can you integrate this and tell what is the expression? Ca naught to Ca naught by 2. Maybe it is difficult to write in the chat what is the answer, but we can try. So what is the minus Ca whole power 1 minus n by 1 minus n is the integral Ca naught to Ca naught by Ca naught by 2, which is equal to K into t half. So what do you write here is, if you rearrange the terms, minus into Ca naught by 2 whole power 1 minus n minus Ca naught into whole power 1 minus n divided by 1 minus n, which is equal to K into t half. So I am taking this side here. So if you rearrange the terms and then everything, if you write here, what is the expression that you will get is Ca naught into 1 minus n, 1 minus 0.5 whole power 1 minus n divided by 1 minus n equal to K into t half is the equation. This is the equation. Is this 100% right? Have you done any mistake in this derivation? If so, where is the mistake? Is this mistake here, step 1, step 2, or step 3? Where is the mistake? Yes, it is not applicable for n equal to 1. So where is the mistake that you have done is, in the step it is wrong. Here it is wrong because this integration is applicable when n is not equal to 1. When n is not equal to 1. So basically, this is applicable when n is not equal to 1. If n is equal to 1, then your entire derivation will be different. So try to derive for n equal to 1. What is the equation? I am getting responses only from the few people. Always. So for n equal to 1, so what? How do you write is minus dCA by dt, which is equal to k into Ca. So minus dCA by Ca, which is equal to k into dt. So if you write ln Ca with the limits of Ca naught to Ca naught by 2, which is equal to k into t half. So k into, this is ln 2, which is equal to k into t half. So what is t half is 0.693 by k. This is what is expression for half-life for a first order. So if you carefully observe the reactions, n equal to not equal to 1, this is n equal to 1. What is difference in these two expressions? What do you observe from these two? What is your observation from these two? For n equal to 1, half-life is not depends upon Ca naught. It is constant. For n equal to 1, half-life doesn't depend upon, let's say, initial concentration. So let's write this problem. Estimate the order of the reaction from the below half-life data for a liquid phase reaction A gives B. What is given is half-life, mole per liter, half-life. See, answer is 0.5. I'm start getting the answers. So I'll give 2 more minutes. Yes, then I'll solve it. So try to solve all the problems on your own. You may get wrong for the first time, maybe. I got at least from half of the class right now. So I'll try to solve it because I have only 5 minutes left. So, what is, suppose if I have an options, let's say something like, let's say 1, 1.5, 0.5 and 0. Which one you can immediately eliminate from here is 1. The answer is not 1 because when I change the concentration, my half-life is changing. Suppose if I ask this question is, if this is 2, then what is my answer is, you don't need to solve, simply 1. Because by changing the concentration, my answer is not, half-life is not changing. So the half-life is simple. So what do we do is, now for this problem, how do you solve this? So let's take this expression now that this is not first order reaction. So Ca naught into 1 minus n, 1 minus 0.5 power 1 minus n divided by 1 minus n is equal to k into t half. So use this data for 2 times. That is 8 power 1 minus n equal to 1 minus 0.5 whole power 1 minus n divided by 1 minus n equal to k into 2. Another time 2 power 1 minus n equal to 1 minus 0.5 whole power 1 minus n by 1 minus n, which is equal to k into 1. So this is equation 1, this is equation 1. If you do 1 by 2, then what happens? 8 power 1 minus n by 2 power 1 minus n equal to 2 by 1. So if you have solved this equation, that is 8 power 1 minus 1 is 2 power 3 into 1 minus n divided by 2 power 1 minus n, which is equal to 2. So if you write this one, 2 power 3 into 1 minus 1 minus 1 minus n, which is equal to 2 power 1. So we equate the base 3 into 1 minus n equal to minus 1 and minus 1 equal to 1. If we solve this equation, then we will get answer. That is, so 3 minus 3n minus 1 minus plus n is equal to 1. This is 2 minus 2n equal to 1. This is n equal to 1 by 2, which is half. I think only 1 minute left, so let's summarize what we have done so that tomorrow we can start from there. So what we have discussed now for today class summary. So we have discussed, let's say, what is objective of CRE. That is, what is objective is design of the reactors. Second thing is what we have discussed is, let's say, how to estimate minus RE. So this is what is, let's say, chapter 1. It consists of, let's say, two factors. One is K, another one is N. So K is what is, let's say, rate constant, and then N is order of the reaction. Order of the reaction can be, let's say, non-elementary and then elementary. Elementary is simple, non-elementary, so you have to do experiments. In non-elementary, we have done, let's say, integral analysis, half-life analysis. So that is. So somebody is asking me to introduce myself. So my name is Ishwar Rao. So I have done MTech from IIT Bombay, PhD from Andhra University. So I'm working as R&D assistant, or let's say R&D company for the design of, let's say, in the field of R&D, basically design of the plants which are in the developing stage. So from last 15-20 years. So if you have any questions related to, let's say, company interviews, also approach me. Let's try to understand, and then I'll try to help it out. So it's 8 o'clock, so I'm stopping the class here. So the books for this CRE start using, let's say, Levenspiel and Fogler. Levenspiel is simple, but the language is little difficult because they will give everything directly. Fogler is little lengthy, but the language is simple. So you can use any one of them. Suppose if in your college, if you are following Levenspiel, follow the same. If you are using, let's say, Fogler, use the Fogler. So that is